Hello and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are. I'm Cale Royer with TreeStuff.com. We are coming to you today with a great PHC themed webinar with our friends at Arborjet. We've got a whole tour coming. We're going to be showing off some new products that we're going to have up on Tree Stuff really soon here. That's really exciting. We think you're going to love. And at the end of it, if you've watched, you've taken notes, then you can take a quiz, get 16 out of 20 points, and you earn 2 free CEUs. So thank you for joining us, everyone. And I'm going to get it over to Trent and the team here in a second. First, I just want to run over a couple real quick things here. First of all is obviously Treetopia, TreetopiaUSA.com. Go there, get your tickets. Make whatever travel plans you need to in order to come out and hang out with us in California. July 29th and 30th. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of classes with really good training. Arborjet's going to be there doing a lot of training for us. You can earn CEUs. Also, it is a Tree Stuff event, so it's going to be wild. We're going to have games, we're going to have competitions, there's going to be a big after party. It's just going to be a whole bunch of fun, and there's going to be a whole bunch of learning. So Treetopia, TreetopiaUSA.com, do it now. Don't do it now. Make a note, have your phone, tell your phone, give you a reminder in 2 hours after the webinar to go to TreetopiaUSA.com and get that. Anyone who has an Alexa device, I can do that right now. I can help you out. Alexa, remind me in 2 hours to go to TreetopiaUSA.com. So if you're near an Alexa...
Okay, I'll remind you in 2 hours. By the way...
Alexa, stop. Okay. That backfired. The other thing that I have to talk about is that we have another event coming up pretty quickly here, the New Jersey Tree Stuff Party, hosted by our friends Hans and Jordan Thielman of New Jersey Crane Expert. That is going to be on 6/18. You can come out anytime throughout the day, hang out. There's going to be a rec climb. You can see all their cool train simulators I'm sure that they'll have there. Just hang out with people, have a good time, network. If you're in the New Jersey area or in that entire side of the country, please come out to that. It's always a lot of fun. The other thing is that we currently have a promotion going on right now. You can get one of our best rated bags of all time, the Notch Pro Access bag on Tree Stuff. Any order over $700 with the code MyAccess will automatically add that free bag on there. If you don't have one, get one. You'll love it. If you do have one, get another one. You love it. So without further ado, I'm going to switch it on over here to Trent, and he can introduce the team. Trent, take it away.
Thanks, Cale. Welcome. We're here at Arborjet headquarters tonight in Woburn, Mass. And we're going to give you a great live demo tonight with Kevin Brewer, Rob Gordon. Let me scroll over. Well, wrong way. That was Josh. There's Rob. Hello. And here is Josh. And Kristen will be joining us later, Cale. So we've got the team here, and we're ready to talk about plant health care and get moving. So, Cale, did you want to do the tour of the facility first, or go ahead and get rolling? Yeah, let's go ahead and do the tour and show them Arborjet.
Ooh, sorry. There we go. I just want to say that Nick showed up earlier, and
Arborjet World Headquarters, and we're going to get a tour. We're going to find out about everything that they have going on, and I'm excited. Let's go. Hi, Trent.
Welcome, Nick.
Hey, man. How you been?
It's good. Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
What's going on?
We can't wait to get this tour.
Great to see you guys. So welcome to Arborjet. This is our world headquarters. Woo!
This is exciting. How many people work here, Trent?
Probably between 30 to 50, somewhere in that range.
That's great. All right. Let's do it. Show us the place.
Let's come on into our office. So we're gonna come in here. Our offices are down this way, and we're gonna go into the lab to start us off.
Okay. So boring town. And
This is our labs. This is where our researchers work and do all their studying. Come right on through. Our entomologist sits here. Our formulator would sit over at the other desk. Our lead researcher's office is in there. He's out of town right now, working at his other office. And this is the lab area. This is where the magic happens, where we work on our formulations, our labels, and everything.
it smells like nerd.
Awesome. We're going to go right through this door, Nick. Follow me. I believe it's open. Come on in. This is where the magic happens.
All right. This looks much more like a lab now.
This is the lab part. As you can see, we got some stuff spinning over there. This is where the formulation works. This is where we do our testing, our research on all the different funguses, diseases, and all that stuff.
So there's a magnet in here spinning this. Isn't that cool, Kill?
You got different mixers, and you got another spinner here.
Can you tell us why it's spinning?
It's concentration, something back.
That's Dr. Don, our entomologist, talking there.
Hi, Dr. Don.
Hey,
What is an entomologist?
insects.
Insects, the study of insects. I knew that, but I wanted to say it for our audience.
I'm a insect killer.
Okay. How long have you worked for Arborjet?
9 years.
And what sparked your passion for bugs?
I was taking college courses, and I had to take an entomology class. Just thought that was the neatest thing. Bugs are cool.
And that was it.
And then I worked for the Texas Forest Service as an entomologist for 17 years. And I was working with Arborjet during that period, and then had a good relationship and decided to move on to an Arborjet.
Great. Well, thanks for all the hard work defending us from invasive species. That's really exciting. Trent, what's next?
So over here we have the clean room, correct, Dr. Don? Clean room, clean in here.
Yeah.
It's all clean.
I imagine we can't go in there.
You can't go in there. It's the clean room right now, but you kind of get the idea.
Clean doesn't mean organized, though, Trent.
It does not. It does not, Nick. It does not.
It depends on what part you look at.
Correct. All right, and now we're gonna head out into the office warehouse or
In the warehouse, yeah,
In the
let's do
warehouse.
that, that's fine.
So we have some formulation area here, Nick, that happens in this area. And then as we move through this area,
Shut it off now?
we'll bottle some stuff and do things.
So the products are made and bottled here.
Some of them.
Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are. Absolutely.
But the equipment is all.
All the equipment is right through here. This is where our assembly room is.
Oh wow! Look at this. This is science. This is like the iron.
This is. Come on in. Okay, check it out. What we've done here is we've actually built stations to make it more efficient for our workers. Like everything is here by parts and all that, so they can quickly assemble and put together all the equipment that Arborjet offers.
Wow.
Each station for everything.
So all of like the industry leading injection kits, the F series, all of the Arbor Tree IV, all that stuff, QuickJet Air, it's put together here by your trained technicians.
Correct. Everything is built right here, assembled.
That's incredible.
You can see all the different parts that we have. Everything's organized. There's some assembly going on over there, it looks like right now. Putting some plugs maybe together. Yeah. So very cool. Very cool.
Excellent. And this is how you guys keep such a close eye on your quality,
Correct.
because you do it all in-house here in Massachusetts.
We are ISO 9000. We just got certified for that. So that's a big deal on standards of everything we do. We've been approved by it. I don't know all the details of it, but it's quite a recognition for it.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to get.
I think a couple of years we were in the process.
And that deals with quality, quality checks, employee and worker safety,
Absolutely.
all those things. Yeah,
All the process.
that's great.
Absolutely. Shall we go upstairs now? Is that what the plan is?
Yeah, let's do that. Or we could show some more assembly.
Oh yeah, let's
look. More assembly in the greenhouse, right?
Yeah.
So this is where we house a lot of our parts, buckets, different tools. We also have another assembly. Before we go to the greenhouse, I'll show you one more assembly.
I didn't know what to expect when we were coming to see Arborjet, but one of the things that I get is that, like, it's very sophisticated, but it feels like a family affair here. It feels like this is a really close-knit team, and it's not so huge that you guys aren't like just on top of every aspect of it.
I'd say we're a very close-knit team that's
Yeah.
really spread out in the regions, at least the sales team, but definitely the office is a close-knit team. And when we come in, we are like family. So these are our assembly stations for our Accuflo soil injectors, and I also believe the Supersonic Air Knives. So this is where everything is assembled. We bring the parts and we actually build everything in that aspect of it. We got different connectors. You can come on back and look. There's tons of stuff. We got some stuff pre-built, all the tools, all the fittings. This is where the magic happens.
Very cool. I think when people envision these types of operations, we all think of corporations, as these massive, robotic welding arms, everything perfect, and it's a very human operation with people putting it together, standing at desks and doing the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this area over here is our shipping area where we put everything together, ship, label, and get it ready for shipping out by freight or by UPS, typically.
All right, great. Let's do one of those quick walking animations upstairs, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
Let's
go.
swing by the greenhouse real quick.
Oh, the greenhouse. We're going to walk to the greenhouse, Gail.
Exaggerated walking motions. Don't get busy, Gail. It'll be all right.
I don't know if you can see the sign up there, but
Oh, look at that.
You read.
That's one of those Vesta boards, huh? That thing's cool. See what- Oh, it is a heart tree. Look at that.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. Huh. I see Instagram ads for that thing all the time.
Yeah. Josh did a nice job.
Come on, Kristen. You can join and
All
talk
right,
about the
all right.
greenhouse.
Kristen is the voice. I'm getting that Kristen's the power behind the throne here.
She's the marketing voice.
I hear a little bit more of the tours being here in the office on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
I'm a little bit more adjusted to the tour faction, but yes, this is the greenhouse. So this was developed a couple years ago. Actually, this part of the structure was originally the R&D offices. So a few years ago, we moved R&D into the area we were just looking at, and then did the assembly room, and then added on we have two greenhouses. One is more of a propagation space where we want to keep the plants clean, and the other one is more of this is where we typically put bugs on the plants and diseases and try to kill things. So in this situation right now, though, it is clean. It is growing some plants that we're going to be either giving to the folks around the office or planting in the back gardens. So we have some food and different plants growing. So we've got sunflowers and I think some beans and different flowers.
Yeah, different perennials.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
cool functional space for you guys to experiment and
Yeah.
do testing.
So it's a nice option, especially in the winter or in situations where we want to be able to control exactly what we're growing. It gives us that ability to have that functionality. So like I said, a lot of times we'll come in here, the plants don't look great because we're there's bugs on them or diseases, and we're testing different things on the plants. So.
This allows us to give us that control to do multiple reps of different things and try different products and introduce different bugs into where we can control what we want to test for.
Yeah, but right now
clean right now. We're just
growing for our own cells.
Cool.
It's fun.
This is great.
Not really. This,
storage.
yeah, this room right now, this was also a space that they redesigned a couple years ago. One of the things I thought was really neat is sometimes we store some of the 30-gallon drums and some of the product that we have. And there's a downstairs, there's an area where we mix some of the product together. And so it's gravity.
Oh, neat.
Which is cool. So they just have it, you know, the hose is all kind of going down. You can turn on the ones that need to turn on. And
Can we see that?
I'm not sure if it's.
I don't know if it's set up.
Yeah, it's not set up right now. Oh, there's hoses.
Going down.
Yeah. So it's nice. It just makes it one more thing that improves our processes, so that, you know, instead of having to move the barrels around all the time, we can improve on that.
Sure.
So.
No, this is cool.
Yeah, this actually used to be stairs.
Yeah, and there's a
There used to be
forklift
stairs
gate.
right here. Now we have this for forklift. So we redesigned the whole stair structure for this upstairs space. So
Very cool.
yeah.
And now we're going to go into the engineering part of our company, Solaire. And you can see the actual 3D printers that we have all working.
Wow.
Very cool here. This is where the magic happens, and we can actually build some of the equipment prototypes.
Yes,
And
it's really a major part of our product development process, especially with the equipment. So it allows us to try things with all sorts of various types of materials to help us with our testing and development. So it decreases the amount of time. It also helps us keep costs down, because we don't have to machine things that we're just testing now. There's various materials that we're able to print from different
Carbon
plastics.
fiber.
Yeah, carbon fiber. We actually use some parts in our existing devices. For instance, the Accuflo soil injector, which you'll get a chance to see, does have a handle and a couple other areas that utilize 3D printed carbon fiber parts. Actually, I can show that to you. Unless you want to. Okay.
Well, this is cool.
So yeah, this is the soil injector. We'll be demoing a little bit. This handle here is 3D printed. So rather than having to machine that and spend a lot of money, we're able to keep the cost down of the device.
And that's 3D printed in production.
Yes.
The production.
We do that here. Yep, in production, and then they have however many downstairs when they assemble the devices.
And we printed our own 3D printed stands.
Wow.
So you have that for trade shows and displays.
That's great. That's so cool. I'm a 3D printing enthusiast, but my equipment is not like this.
These there's another one going right here.
Working right there on it if you want to get it in action.
One of the things.
Man, you guys have so many machines.
Yes.
Yeah.
But different companies can do different types of, and different machines can do different types of materials. So
Sure.
it helps to keep the availability there. This is a really interesting kind of demonstration where these white pieces are actually support. So they print the support when they're printing the piece, and then what you do is you put it in a dip, like a bath, and that disintegrates. So it makes it so that you can print in areas that you wouldn't be able to print otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, and you put it in a limonene bath and it dissolves it.
Yeah, I always thought that was so interesting.
This is awesome.
The new, what we're going to go see, the new Supersonic Airline
Ooh.
handle.
Oh, and this is the handle that
So-
is
so yeah.
pushing back at you.
Yeah.
It makes much more sense.
So it's actually the other way,
Other way
yes.
around.
And so we 3D printed the handle when we were redesigning it to get a better feel for
The
the
hand.
handle and how it should feel, what the shape should be. Because one of the things we didn't really like was the previous shape of that
Sure.
of that handle. It was
Sure.
kind of jagged, wasn't as comfortable. So we did, they designed a couple different things so we could, basically around the office, everybody had a chance to try it. And then you'll see on the final device that we have, it's a metal handle, but it's going to replicate what we 3D printed.
Cool.
And then the rest of our parameters.
Yeah, it's really staggering the amount of science and engineering that you guys are doing here on site in this location. Yeah, it's great to see, innovation here in America and people doing awesome stuff. This is cool. What's next?
We'll go walk through.
Yeah, a little bit finished up the upstairs area.
Yep.
One of the nice things is we have, when we were developing this upstairs area, is we also put in a classroom. And so the classroom is really great because we can hold meetings here or educational sessions, as well as we use it as a space every year to get the entire company together. So in the fall, we do a strategic planning event, and it's an opportunity for everybody to get their say and talk about what they want to see for our future. And so we use that time to talk about developing new products and new ideas and putting together a strategic plan every year.
So this wall is some of the different parts that Solaire has designed for different companies, different scans or molds that they've made, which are very unique. You see some of the prototypes for the F-Series bottles when we designed this and the molds, all the different ideas that we came up with. Very cool,
Yeah,
You can sit on it.
Look at this 3D printed stool, Kale.
This is gotta be the single largest 3D print that I've ever seen. And it's huge. That's really cool. And what's neat is that was printed without support, it looks like. Right. Because it's all, yeah, wow, that's really cool.
Look at all these really large format prints and prototypes. We use 3D printing a lot in our own product development for climbing devices and things
Right.
like that. And it really is incredible the amount of time that you're able to save by prototyping something and bringing it to a shape without having to go to metal.
Right, absolutely.
And it's so much more expensive to take apart to metal. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. This is an example too, in terms of this is a pump. And so the original pump is extremely heavy. You can't really lift it. And so the people who were trying to sell this pump had to try to, schlep the thing around all over the place. So rather than having to actually carry the pump, now you can carry this 3D printed part. And then all the pieces are replicated.
Yeah.
And the way that they did that was they scanned it. So we actually have 3D scanners as well. So you take the scan, you put little dots around the device, and you scan it, and then you've got a 3D model of that piece. And then you're able to 3D print it. So once again, you're decreasing the amount of time that it takes to replicate things.
That's great.
The technology has allowed us to do a lot more improvements and speed up our processes of the design on our equipment and for other projects too, as Solaire does.
Yeah.
Great. So you've mentioned Solaire a few times. Can you tell us a little bit, what is Solaire?
So Solaire is an engineering company that's within Arborjet that works closely with Arborjet on a lot of our projects, but then it has its own business side of it to where it will do other contracts with other companies. Ford, Caterpillar, John Deere, those type of companies, larger scans where they'll actually go into businesses and scan things to where they can print a mold or print a 3D thing to speed up the production, as you were talking about earlier.
That makes sense. It starts to come together for me. When you look at the Arborjet tech, it's so much higher end and higher quality than the tech that you see in some of maybe your competitors.
Yes.
And I've wondered how you guys were able to operate at such a high level of engineering, because it maybe it'd be a scale mismatch, right? But being that you have an entirely independent engineering business, that's where you're able to bring that high level engineering into your products at the scale that you're at, that's really, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
And that's our CEO, Russ Davis. His background and passion is in engineering, that he's able to, he really has that ability to think about kind of, hey, what's the next thing?
Okay.
And so utilizing Solaire as that support group has been really fantastic for the company and for our products. And it gives him a chance to continue on
His
kind of
engineering.
utilizing that engineering background.
That makes sense now.
It makes it very easy for us to make modifications and then print them and try them to where we can come to market with a high quality item as a QuickJet Air.
The number of printers makes sense now.
Yeah.
The number of formats and stuff. Cool. Let's take a look at the classroom.
Yeah.
Great. So as you can see, it's in use right now a little bit. So we get all of us in here. And
This is where we come for our strategic plannings. We'll spend a week here. It'll be a brain trust. We'll have note cards all over the wall, brainstorming what our next ideas will be for our strategic action plans for the year. Each department, marketing, research, our engineering, our sales team will do our presentations and discuss everything that's going on, and then we'll map our year here. So a lot goes on in this room. We have the ability, we're going to do our presentation here tonight. We'll be live from in here.
Yeah.
Kevin and I will probably be sitting in here to talk about the above and beyond PHC together. As we go out and see these live demonstrations of what we're doing and that, and then we'll just elaborate and talk about it more.
Awesome. This is exciting. You guys are really so at the top of your game. It's so obvious now. Makes sense. Cool. Let's we're going outside to do some to check out the outside area, and we're also going to do some demos, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
Awesome.
More exaggerated washing motions. We're all good, Kel? Audio's good, you're happy with it?
So this is our outdoor classroom. This is our nice little cleaning area for when the pandemic was going on. We made an outside eating area to where we could go outside and enjoy meals and just get some fresh air. And we put in this nice outdoor classroom for us. As you can see, we can walk through it.
Yeah.
They guide us through.
The vessel sink is very 1990 posh.
That's, I don't know. I would say
It is, right?
New.
It's 2000 posh,
Totally back.
but 2000's not new. That was 20 years ago.
I know. I hate myself. This is the solar panels
Oh,
here.
there's the solar panel come down.
Yeah. So just that's the visual we can show you right now without having a drone.
For us, it's here, you know, take the exact specifications for like how much energy we produce and how we produce so much we can like sell it back to the town to like make a profit off of it because we just get sunlight all the time and you know we make more than we can possibly use in a day.
Yeah, we do.
That's
So it's a
fantastic.
great investment on our part.
Investing in the environment is usually a good investment.
It's the environments in the community. It's kind of what we're about.
Yeah. Kale, who's facilitating our broadcast, is a member of the VSG Green Team.
Nice.
Very cool.
And maybe Kale can insert a little bit about what the Green Team's been working on in the broadcast tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is our outdoor area
World-class outdoor training area.
And research.
and research.
Yeah.
area. Our little nursery, as we'll call it.
Yeah. There's what almost 100 trees.
Yeah.
And
Arboretum.
yeah.
It's an arboretum, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our little arboretum.
A tree museum.
Trees, and there's a lot of grapevines as well. Grapevines are really nice because they tend to get powdery mildew and various diseases, and they are sensitive to a lot of different treatments. So we can test on the grapevines to ensure that we're not getting any kind of toxicity. Well, yeah, and if lanternfly decides to come on out, then we'll have probably some testing ground for that too.
Because they go after the grapevines.
They like the grapevines.
Like the
Yeah.
canary in the coal mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
We actually have some Atlantis as well here that we could at some point come after.
Yeah, the spotted lanternfly will definitely go after the grapevines even more than the fruit trees. They're definitely putting the hurt on the grape industry.
Interesting.
So over here, we're walking into our little arboretum. This is where we do all of our different types of research on different plots and different plants. I want to say we have drawing a blank on this. What?
Well, those some of those plants we were using to test different types of plant toxins and the things that the plants do to just naturally deter pests. And so we were looking at various formulations and things that we can do utilizing plant material.
That's great.
Which is really cool.
Trent, can we get a picture of you like walking, like kind of pensively, dragging your hands like Gladiator? Yeah, exactly. This is Arborjet.
This is Arborjet. Welcome. Look at all the different plants.
As Trent communes.
So a lot of these plants that we have over here, we've been utilizing our plant growth regulator shortstop 2SC. We've been testing different rates and different types of applications. And so you can see in some situations where this, for instance, is very highly regulated, whereas other plants may not be. Compared to the untreated, treated. So we look at different plant material.
So wait, that plant got the shortstop, and this one didn't?
Yeah.
I think the shortstop works.
It does.
It does. Maybe a little too well on this guy, but we have some other ones that you'll see, some other plants that fabulous results from both sprays and drenches.
Yeah. I honestly don't think that any of the other tree-focused plant healthcare companies are doing this, guys.
Right.
I truly don't.
Yeah, different hops, plants growing.
Oh.
It's another lanternfly host, so it's another potential test species.
Oh my God.
They don't go after anything, but it's one of the big ones.
Now that I've learned that spotted lanternfly hates beer and wine, I am thinking I need to get involved in spotted lanternfly. I mean, you're turning me into an advocate, guys.
Yeah.
Fighting lanternfly is really about saving the alcohol.
Yeah, save the booze. I like that.
So some more of the shortstop.
We're investing in Tito's.
So this is really talking about above PHC here. This is an untreated lilac tree, correct, Kristen?
Yeah.
That was untreated without any shortstop. And then if you come over into this area, we have the treated. Was it sprayed or was it
Those ones are sprayed.
These were sprayed. So this was sprayed with our shortstop 2SC to where it was dripping down, and look at the results. Look how much smaller, tighter, compact, the flowers are really nice and tight compared to where if you just let it go.
And so what's the use case? Who wants to do this for what reason?
The big use here is you're reducing your maintenance. You're not having to go out and prune as often. So if you're managing larger properties where, let's say a burning bush hedge or something like that, and you want to reduce how many times you prune it, say you're pruning it 3 times a year, maybe you only prune it once a year now because of using this application as a foliar spray.
Very
That
cool.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it works for trees too.
Yep, trees, shrubs. We've got a broad label now. We can do a foliar spray for like most shrubs, and then if you want to do basal drenches on trees or use the Accuflo soil injector, we can do that. And we're gonna show that tonight.
Great.
I think it's time to head on through the rest of the arboretum. You can see different
Arborjet Air.
We have pears, grapevines, and then we have the garden, right?
Yeah, some strawberries. Actually, I missed picking the asparagus. Unfortunately, asparagus went to flower.
I don't like asparagus. It
No?
makes my
Yeah,
my
pretty
pee
smelly.
feel weird.
Not
weird, yeah.
everybody can smell that.
Oh. Whew.
So some people are stinky and they don't know it. This is asparagus.
And here's some strawberries.
So
Starting to come through already. We're getting some fruit forming. Very cool.
So we obviously have a lot of cleanup still to do in here, but well, a lot of these gardens this year I think are going to be more for the staff. So we'll have some of those fruits and vegetables and flowers and stuff that we had in the greenhouse. We'll plant some of them out here as well.
That's exciting.
But yeah, we have these now available to us to do various testing and things like that too.
Yeah, seems like a pretty great place to work.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We have compost over here too, so there's a lot of weeds and different things that result in this type of space. We do have this area where we compost and bring in some soil as well.
So we're gonna head on over to the live demo area, and what are we gonna demo?
We are going to be demoing our Accuflo soil injector, and we're going to be demoing our Supersonic Air Knife and also the Supersonic Vacuum.
Can I run the Supersonic Air Knife?
Absolutely.
Yes! Ha! I'm so excited.
You have to gear up, but absolutely. And I think what we'll do too in some of the demonstration is we'll walk around this landscape and we'll have Kevin talk. Our board certified master arborist and consulting arborist, talk about what he sees when he walks in a landscape, and that's what we'll build on.
Kevin's a BCMA.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the little tour Nick took us on through Arborjet, and let's get into our presentation now. So, what services are you going to offer when you're doing above and below PHC? There's many different options. We can keep it simple if you're not sure what you want to get into, but there's a lot that we can do. There's foliar sprays, bark sprays, soil drenches, tree injections. We're going to show you some live demos of some of these stuff. Plant growth regulators. We're going to talk about Shortstop 2SC. We're going to talk about some of the different soil amending, Supersonic Air Knife. We're going to see Nick try that out. We're going to do the Supersonic Vacuum. We're going to show you the Accuflo soil injector, which can do some deep root feeding. We're going to talk about different carbon sources that are out there to help build better soil. NPK, mycorrhizae, beneficial bacteria, seaweed extracts, wetting agents, hydroscopic humectants. So these are kind of all the things that we're going to cover tonight briefly when we go through. Let's just get into it kind of. Emmett did a presentation, our Texas rep, that talked about plant healthcare. So what is like a biannual PHC service example? Kevin, do you want to kind of talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the most important things about plant health care when you get into it is you have to be on a property more than one time a year. So it's a good idea to kind of break things up a little bit. So you can get a good spring fertilization going on in there. March, April, make sure the plants get off to a good healthy start during the growing season. And then usually sometime in the summer you want to go back June, August just to check in on things. If it's a new property, you might not know what the problems that might arise will be. So if you can go back in the summer, you can see if there were any spring fungal issues that you might want to address next year or in the fall, or any insects starting to pick up steam and do any damage. And then again, you can come back again with the fall and start doing some soil building applications. So in the spring, you might use something like a Arborplex 1445 fertilizer, where in the fall you might go with more of a humic acid or something with like BioMP with molasses to feed the microbes and things like that.
Yeah, that's great, Kevin. What do you think is the other key? Is renewal business a key thing when you're starting plant healthcare, trying to get that renewals once you have that first year of business?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best thing about getting into plant healthcare is they're kind of like subscription services. Once people care about, once you get the customer base there that care about their trees, they're feeding their trees and into plant healthcare, they're pretty good repeat customers. So every year you can just keep building on that foundation that you've got.
What kind of profit margin do you think when they get into PHC? Well, what's the typical thing when we get into that?
It's much higher than general tree care. Your profit margin's usually going to be, above 60% in plant healthcare.
And once you get rolling, when you were your general manager, what was kind of the renewals each year? What's the percentage typically? What would you see? 70, 80%?
We had close to 90%
Wow.
retention year over year.
Wow.
We had a pretty close relationship with our customers. The company I was with before, we are a 25-year established tree company of pruning, removal, stump grinding, planting, and things like that. So we had a pretty loyal base to kind of lean on when we started plant health here. So that did help. But we had a good build up, and like I said, about 90% retention on that.
Very cool. Very cool. So injection, we're gonna do some live demonstrations of this, but the question always comes up: where do I drill on that tree? Where am I going to put those plug sites? Typically you want to go from 0 to 6 inches into that trunk flare, as you can see where the arrows are. And you're going to avoid the flat spots or the compressed sites because that's not good. You can go anywhere from 0 to 18 inches, but we all know that we're going to try to stay on that lower 0 to 6 where the tree's growing. And what that allows you to do is, in the upcoming years when you may have to do other injections, you can move over a couple inches to the right, to the left, or below and still be able to do it. You want to drill typically 1 inch to 1.5 inches in on your hardwoods. You may go 1.5 inches to 2 inches on evergreens. We're never going to use dull drill bits. We want to use nice sharp drill bits. The Arborjet high helix drill bits are actually patented to pull out and have faster uptake the way it removes the stuff. So these are all key things when we're trying to get into plant health care and learning where to drill and inject. And we can watch the video coming up. The QuickJet Air is one of our preferred devices. This is what's truly revolutionizing, our EAB control with the Triage R10. It's the fastest injection device out there. So we're being a lot more productive now with less labor, and we're able to do precise doses, in that sense. So this is a great tool for most of your insecticide treatments, but I've seen guys that are using it for fungicide treatments. It just uses more air when you do that. So you have opportunities because this device makes you a lot faster. So the Accuflo soil injector. This is a great tool. Kevin, what do you think of this tool so far?
So I'm a big fan of the Accuflo soil injector. I'm glad we came out with this. I like the speed of which it delivers the material, but again, that accuracy, being able to set the injection rate between 10 to 300 mils per injection, it's extremely accurate, and that's what you really need when you're using things like plant growth regulators. You don't want to over-regulate the plant. You have to be very precise, and also, product can be expensive. It's one of the bigger costs. So if you're using some even systemic insecticides that you're injecting into the soil, you want to be accurate. You want to make sure you're dosing that tree properly, and that's what this can do. Just repeatable and efficient injections.
Yeah, and what's really nice about this this is a battery operated device, so it really has a low carbon footprint battery. It's variable pressure, so we can go up to 5 different pressures. And we actually have a recirculation. So when you're filling that device, it's actually agitating the tank. So you're getting twice the pressure with this use. So it's very easy to use. And we're going to show you guys this in a live demo coming up. There's actually a stop lock that's stainless steel that allows you to go up and down. And what we're seeing is we can operate up to 3 hours or almost 76 gallons, somewhere in that per charge, depending on what you're doing. You can see here, this is this handle for the fill and inject. So it's very easy to use. The nice thing with this device too is it's also your spraying device, and we're going to talk about that. So you can do foliar sprays, bark sprays with it. It's only 11 pounds, so it's very lightweight. And the nice thing is it's not gas powered, so you can actually go out at 7 o'clock in the morning, right, Kevin, and do applications, and no one knows that you're even there.
Yeah, and a lot of coastal towns in the Northeast now are starting to ban gas equipment, small engines.
Right.
They're making a lot of companies switch over to electric.
So this is an 18-volt backpack, which is very quiet and lightweight. It's a flow zone backpack, so we can get up to 100 psi when we're doing the injection. You can detach it and you can use it for spray. I think we've seen up to 20 feet probably in sprays, Kevin, right? When we're doing it, if it's not too windy. So this gives you a tool that you can do PGRs, fertilizers, pesticides, and much, much more. The nice thing is it comes in a 4-gallon and it also comes in the 9-gallon device. So you have flexibility if you want to carry it on your back, or if you'd prefer to have a 20-foot hose and a 9-gallon that you can tote around and go hit the boxwood shrubs with a metacloprid, you can do that stuff. You know, there's lots of different tools with that. This just gets into the details of the 9-gallon, but it's all terrain. It works great going through the yard. I've used it in my house, and it's quite easy to use. Very nice tool. You can move around. I was out with one of my customers, and he was able to do his entire yard in probably like 2.5, 3 hours for fertilizing it. You know, it's pretty simple to use. It's very lightweight in that sense. Kel, do we got any questions before we get going any further? Okay. So let's talk about shortstop. All right. So this is kind of the above ground PHC. It's just not a growth regulator. You know, the pectibutrazole delivers thicker leaf cuticles. It's going to reduce your vegetative growth. You're going to have better root development. This is something that you're going to use when we have a construction project beforehand, you know, preferably if we can get in a couple months before they do the construction. This is going to help the plant have that. We're going to see a deeper, darker color, less water loss because the stomata is going to stay closed. We're going to have better storage. It's actually taking the energy from pushing out in the leaves and putting it more down into the roots. And the nice thing is it's an application for trees, but now we also have a foliar spray and a soil application for shrubs. So you have a lot more options. Kevin, you want to add anything here on this one?
Yeah, so it's you know, now that we have a foliar application rates on the label, being able to use that in that way is just saves so much time and labor. And also from a plant healthcare point of view, you know, we're starting to see a lot more like boxwood blight here in the Northeast. And a big way that's spread is from shearing an infected hedge and then shearing a non-infected hedge. So if you're taking care of boxwoods on a property where you're not necessarily doing the pruning, you're just on the plant healthcare, making sure that the pruning incidents are less, as few as possible. You know, for one, you're removing material from the tree, but you're also opening wounds. So from a health point of the plant, it's better to be pruned less. And also aesthetically, it keeps that, you know, tighter look longer. And if you're maintaining commercial properties, again, if you're you know, if you're making money based on how that property looks, not necessarily how much time you're there, you can cut down on labor significantly using growth regulators foliarly on hedges and other plants that you would be pruning, not just hedges.
I think you touched on something that's very true. I mean, sterilizing your pruning equipment, your chainsaws, and that when you're moving in between trees or even with injections is really cool or really important so you don't spread that disease, right? Or cause something moving from that. I was out on a site, I don't remember where it was at, but I could tell oak wilt was spread because they didn't clean their tools. Yep. And you could just follow it. So we have to be a little more safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that with the utility work. They pruned a tree that had oak wilt, and then you could see down the utility line all the trees for 20 poles were.
Okay. So shortstop's going to allow you to reduce your pruning, you know, so that's a way to go to, you know, network with landscapers or anything like that and maybe offer services, you know, to team up or partner with some different things and offer plant healthcare. You know, there's guys that are installing these landscapes. Well, they need someone to maintain them, right? So this is a great way to network and do things for them. You're going to get better appearance. I mean, we kind of saw out in our little arboretum, as we called it, what shortstop can do as a foliar spray or as a soil injection. You know, typically your foliar spray is probably going to last 8 to 10 weeks, you know, with one application, and your injections probably could be up to 2-3 years with the shrub. Probably not as long as a tree, but I would say probably 2 years because as fast as a shrub grows. So there's definitely big savings or appearance improvement. I've used shortstop on my trees, my red maples, and it's amazing how different they look compared to the neighbors. Tighter growth, smaller leaves, they hold their seeds longer, they don't leaf out as soon, but you know, they'll hold their leaves till Thanksgiving, you know, where other trees will be defoliated, you know, a month earlier. It's an amazing product. So you're going to see on shrubs, you're going to get enhanced color and density. I want to say these were 9 barks before, and then this is the way they looked afterwards. So you're going to see definitely a reduction in elongation. You see a lot tighter growth on that, which is that you're going to see a lot better color. You're not going to have to prune it as often. You know, that's really big, saving that time, and you can go do other things. Reducing labor. I think this is a really great study here. You know, in American Holly, South Carolina, treated with shortstop 2SC. 2018, they had to do 4 full shearings. It took 32 man hours per season. They did 1 application, and then it was just 3 light tip prunings and only 6 man hours. That's a big savings. 32 to 6. You're able to go do other work and make a lot more money doing other things when you save that pruning. So this is definitely a service to add here above ground PHC.
Yeah.
Reduce labor. You know, these are really big things. Look at this ligustrum hedge. It was sprayed, trimmed once before, and then trayed, and we got 10 weeks. And you can see how perfect that is.
Yeah, and, you know, again, those labor savings, especially now, it's you know, finding the right employees at the right time to grow your business as fast as you can find new customers isn't always possible. So, you know, I hear a lot of times when I'm talking to some people that use our products and things, they may not be using growth regulators that much, but they're like, man, I pulled my advertising, I can't take in customers anymore because I can't find more people. You know, so if you can find ways to manage your properties in less time, you can start taking on those new customers with the existing staff you have.
Right. Absolutely. Drought stress, right? Let's face it. A lot of our trees have drought stress. There's significant impact. So this is a tool that you can use and apply, and we're going to reduce the amount of drought stress. It's going to help make smaller leaves, you know, tighter stomatas. It's going to help, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So drought stress does all this to these trees. And when we apply shortstop, we're inhibiting this. We're not going to allow this happen. It's going to help with this cyclical decline from the results. You know, after season, we get trees dying. This is a tool to help these trees grow and be a lot healthier if there's a lack of water.
Yeah, and certain trees, you know, river birches are common for it here. They're very drought tolerant, but they're very drought sensitive also. And the reason they're tolerant is because they do shed their leaves when they get into too much drought stress. So a lot of times in August, if we've had a dry summer, you'll see the birches start dropping their leaves. They get down to about, you know, 30% canopy, and that's because of that drought stress reaction. But, you know, by using a growth regulator, they can control that moisture loss a little better, and you'll keep them foliated throughout the season. You know, commonly when they defoliate due to drought stress, people think there was some kind of fungal issue, but a lot of times they're just responding to that stress.
Yep. So here's some studies that we did. I want to say this was Colorado, if I remember right. Was that right? Yeah. So this was a parking lot island. Look at what that tree's planted in. Just awful stone, you know, so limited water availability. We applied shortstop. Look how much darker green it is. You know, it really enhanced the color of the trees. The leaves are smaller. It's not as full and that because the growth has been shrank. And we're going to get that enhanced performance for up to 3 years. You can also use this in conjunction with our other product, Hydrating, to help enhance the actual benefits of it. And it's going to help with the, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to comment that one of the real attributes of shortstop is to increase root development. And so, while it's slowing top growth, it's also increasing root development. That's one of the reasons why we can help manage drought stress much more effectively.
And it definitely needs root help in that planting pit right there.
Yep.
So this is a great tool. So, and other things that shortstop does is it's going to help with chlorotic trees, right? This is going to be a tool that, you know, we're planting trees and ranges that they're not supposed to. And with the way the climate is changing, trees are seeing more rain or less rain, and there's so many different variables now. Off subject, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like Japanese maples have really been looking different. Like they've been under different stresses. They're not leafing outright. Tops of the trees are missing. I've been seeing a lot of that. And I don't know what's causing it, but I can tell you that where I'm at in Maryland, it was 30 degrees at night, and then it would be 60 or 70 degrees. And that went on for a month and a half. That's really got to be hard on plants in that aspect of it.
Yep, and these chlorotic trees also with the shortstop, we're also using Minjet FE, which is an injectable iron and manganese solution. A lot of times, if you're putting a lot of iron down and a tree's still chlorotic, a deficiency in manganese can also give the same appearance. But when iron's not available because the soil pH is off, sometimes that can take a lot of time to adjust. So by using an injectable version of iron and manganese, we can get 2 to 3 years of green up on one treatment. When combined with the growth regulators.
It makes a big difference. So disease resistance, I think this was big. You guys were talking about it outside in the nursery, but the lilacs were really, they were clean after the treatment with the foliar spray. Like they were resistant to it, which is a big deal with lilacs because in the past, lilacs are just ugly. They're covered in powdery mildew and they don't look good. Some disease resistance too with apple scab. A treatment with shortstop is going to reduce how bad the apple scab is, which is a big deal. And if you team that up with Phosphojet, man, you've got really a nice 1-2 punch for your plant health care.
Yeah, typically, the apple scab is worst in springs where it's really, kind of prolonged, cool and wet. When those leaves first emerge, which if you're trying to control it with foliar applications of a fungicide, the years they need it the most, you have the least options of when you can treat all your customers. And usually you have to treat about 3 times on 10 to 14 day intervals. So being able to control that issue with the growth regulator and injectable phosphorus is just such a break from the norm of how it's dealt with. It's quite helpful.
So with shortstop, we can do soil, we can do foliar applications. It gives you lots of options, but with the drenching or the soil injection, you have to have exact dosing. So we've made additional charts at our website that you can go to that's based off the label, but it helps you see what rates you need to do. And typically when you're doing a soil applied or a drench or an injection, you need to do a premix at 1 part shortstop to 11 parts water. So, and the chart will allow you to fine tune the different species that we see. And then if you're applying a drench, you can do either a nice little basal drench around the trunk, or you can use the Accuflo oil injector to do it. We have charts dialed in for that, but you're getting into the depth of 3 to 4 inches when you do that.
And that's where that soil injector saves you a lot of time. I've used quite a few plant growth regulators, and digging that trench around the root flare of a tree, because you can't just pour it on the ground. You have to dig a little moat to pour it into. That can take a lot of time, and you got to be really careful not to ding the roots when you're trying to dig this trench around the tree. When it's in a mulch bed, it's not a big deal, but a lot of people have, turf right up to the trees, and you've got to take that out. If there's a lot of ground cover growing around it, like vinca or pachysandra, you got to take that out and dig your trench. Where the soil injector, you can just walk up to the tree, treat it, and walk away.
Yep. I put Phosphojet in because I think Phosphojet's really a unique product. It's phosphoric acid. It's really a plant-resistant activator, all right? So it's going to turn on the plant's natural defense systems. It strengthens the cell walls. It's labeled as a fungicide, but it also is going to help with nutrition in that. We've definitely increased the label uses for that to where it's a foliar spray, a bark spray, injection. But I mean, it's a great tool. I mean, when you use it, it does phenomenal things. Fall season apple scab injections, we've seen 85% leaf hold with it. Cankers, hypoxylin canker, sudden oak death, anthracnose, it's a great tool in the spring to use to help bring that plant through. Am I missing anything else, Kevin? Rob, anything you can think of?
I just think one of the other things that they talk about with Phosphojet is its ability to fight Cytogrow.
Yes.
And some of the studies that have been done are pretty demonstrative about its ability to do so, both in terms of its ability to fight the disease directly, but also in its ability to get that tree prepared for the battle. It helps the tree to, as it says there, to elicit its own reaction.
Great. So this kind of just gives an overview of what phosphoric axes do on the plant. So it increases the cell wall thickness. It helps the plant's defenses. It turns on the defense genes in the plant. It triggers a hypersensitive response to that. Prevents the development of spores, and the antimicrobial effects. As Rob was saying about Phytophthora, it affects 5 species of it. It's going to stunt the fungi, hyphae branches. It shrinks the cytoplasma, and really the fungus cell contents become disorganized so it doesn't leak any cytoplasma.
Just one more comment on that. On the hypersensitivity response, all trees will try to shut down their cells around an infection. This increases the effectiveness of it doing so. So the tree can actually respond and wall off the damage before it spreads through the tree.
So before the Phytophthora would girdle the tree, it may close that off to where the tree can recover and go on.
That's right.
That's a big deal. So this is just an example of the Phosphojet label of all the different things that you can do with sprays, bark sprays, and just kind of a photo of someone applying it. It just gives you the ideas of what it can do. Cale, I don't know if you want to do some of the live demos now, and we can show Nick and his great expertise on Supersonic Air Knife now and some tree injection stuff, if that works for you.
Yeah, that works for me. We can go ahead and do that.
I got the echo. I got the feedback.
Oh, okay. We're going in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so we're here.
This is cool, man.
We're here with the Supersonic Air Knife. Nick is going to be his first trial run on it. He's going to run it, operate it.
I'm excited. I've wanted to run one of these bad boys for a really long time. I actually have some work at my house that I need to do. So maybe if I like it, maybe you'll bring it over and I can trench.
Maybe we can do that.
Okay.
We can do that. So new excitement. This is really the first unveiling of the updates that we've done since we've taken over with the Supersonic Air Knife. So we've improved the handle here on the gun, and we've actually changed the gauge now to where it's one piece, and we've actually made the whole entire handle lighter. And as Kristen talked about earlier in our tour, now we have a more ergonomic handle based on our hands. We scanned different sizes hands, and we made it in the handle to where it's really nice when you're operating the device. More improvements I'm sure to come, but we're going to get started and get into this, and Nick's going to put on some PPE, and Kevin's going to run it. We're going to go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, where do I get the PPE? Just the helmet?
You want to watch Kevin first, or you want to just
No, I want to go for it.
All right.
You just want to go for it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I definitely want to capture like that first. Like you can give me like the dry thing, but can I just?
Yeah, I'll show you how to.
Yeah,
basically
let's
what
do
you want
that.
to do first. So you
Yeah.
have no safety issues.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that live. We'll get that.
All right.
So talk me through it.
All right.
Well, first we need the PPE. I think it's important for the audience to know that for the first time I ever see one of these in operation, I'm going to be doing it. And they're all kind of like snickering. So I'm thinking it might be, maybe I've underestimated it.
You're going to get dirty.
You're going to get dirty.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
All right. So Kevin, go ahead and walk him through
Yeah,
it.
tell me what I need to know.
Tell him the
All right.
proper PPE.
So, yep, you can have your mask down, earmuffs on.
Mask down, earmuffs on.
It's a very intuitive piece of equipment. You've never used them before, but you'll see, especially with the trigger being on the top of this, just push down on that. The gun's going to push back into your hand, but it's going to stay on nice and easy. You want to start with it kind of just right against the ground, and you'll see from there, it's going to just start spraying dirt everywhere. And yeah, just that's all there is to it.
Is my wife going to let me in the house tonight?
The really amazing thing about this is it's Mach 1.7 speed when this thing turns on. It's going to be blowing some soil out of this
Top
tree.
Gun.
Yep.
It's going to be
So
awesome.
what is my objective? Do I have a job to do?
So, yeah, we've got this tree right over here. This tree
Wonderful.
that obviously has construction damage.
And hangers.
It's been buried in a berm,
It's one of those trees where you might be doing an excavation on this one to check for safety issues because it's been buried too deep. You could have major roots that are way too far underground. They could be rotting. You could have a safety issue. You could be radial trenching to get some better soil back in. There's lots of reasons to work on.
So you want me to expose some roots over here?
Yep.
All right, let's take the camera over.
Removing roots too, then we're going to use our Supersonic Vacuum to pull out some of the soil once you loosen it up.
Oh.
And we'll put it into the beautiful dirt duffel.
The dirt duffel. That's an excellent product name.
Yeah, so once you've got the soil all loosened up, rather than have to shovel that out, we've got this fancy dirt vacuum. Same trigger style, same idea. And this one, once it's loosened up, you'll just pull the trigger and vacuum all the dirt out of the way. If you want to go down another layer, you can set this aside and go back to the air knife.
Yeah, and then I am really excited. This is cool. Have you guys all tried this? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's why they're all snickering.
We're gonna stand back.
We're gonna stand back. I'm gonna be back.
All right.
Cal, it's gonna get noisy.
Drop your little face shield there.
Get ready, man.
Get ready.
Get ready. I'm telling you.
All right, Gail. First time I've ever even seen one of these. I'm ready, man. It's gonna rock. Here we go. Next supersonic experience. Ready to go? Whoa. This is like made a hole. It makes a hole. Oh my God. There's so much sunshine in the hole. Jesus. Okay, this is awesome. Look at this. Wow, this is so cool. I mean, it's a dirty job, but oh my gosh, this is so cool. All right, I want to see you do it now. I feel like I needed a mouth guard. Hey, that's cool. Look at this hole that I made. Hold on, I gotta show Kale. Kale, check out this hole I just dug, dude. Yeah. That's pretty good. Holy macaroni. Kevin, are you going to show us radial trenching now? Oh, that's not what I was doing? You were digging a hole. Oh. Beautiful. All right, let's watch a master. Someone who really knows what they're doing. Very dirty job. Wow, that's incredible. I still think I dug a better hole than you. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. All right. So you're gonna show us how to expose some irrigation or piping in the ground.
it's amazing how it just blows out all that material.
Yeah.
Especially like this rocky soil is not easy to push a shovel through.
No way. Look out.
Oh geez. Well, we haven't found the utility yet, but if not from a lack of trying, I guess we just need to keep digging more holes.
Or maybe not.
So we'll do that on our next air knife search. But what an impressive piece of machinery. That is cool. It's a lot dirtier than I expected.
All right, welcome back. So, Kevin, you want to talk about your specialty?
Yeah, so there's lots of great uses for the Supersonic Air Knife. You know, as far as plant healthcare uses go, you can see you can do a pretty quick root crown excavation to look for girdling roots, or when people love to plant trees too deep, you can kind of lower the grade a little bit. But also what I like to use it for is radial trenching around trees to kind of be able to work in some more organic matter into the soil, into the root zone without having to disrupt the actual roots. So, you know, using the air to excavate the soil away, you're not doing any damage to the tree, but it gives you a good opportunity to get amendments into the soil and make an organic area, just like doing kind of like spokes of a wheel away from the trunk. And then going back and doing a soil drench with, you know, like the bio-MP, the humic acid, products like NutriRoot, which we can talk about later. But yeah, it's just really great plant healthcare tool. And again, if you're doing, you know, construction around trees or irrigation near trees and plants, you know, people might want, you know, add an irrigation system into an existing landscape, you know, after the fact. They're tired of hand watering, so they want an irrigation system, but you can't just, you know, trench through and install garden and install hoses, but you can use the Supersonic Air Knife to do your trenching and then kind of feed the pipe through onto the roots.
Absolutely. So this is the redesigned body, the improvements that we've made so far. So now we have a longer, smoother trigger. We've made a more comfortable grip, and now the gauge is a lot easier to read when you're looking at it. We've redesigned the barrel handle now, so this is a wider grip, and it's really more comfort, and it's easy to adjust as you go down. And then now we have kits available. So if you wanted to get a hard padded case that holds device hose and the eye protection, so it's all right there. This is the Supersonic Lt Vacuum. So we're using the same compressor as you saw, and it's very easy to remove. And it's jumping ahead on me. But this is a very high value device. You know, it's ergonomic triggers, very similar, and it's very lightweight, and it's adjustable for production control. And what it allows you to do is you can save that soil on site now and actually put it into our new dirt duffel that we've came out with. And what's nice about this dirt duffel is, you know, it's very lightweight. It's a tarp. It can be unzipped and fold out. It's got nice strong zipper and handles, but it can catch any debris. But if you're doing some lightweight pruning, you can throw pruning in there, leaves. I mean, there's lots of things. So it's going to minimize the amount of dust. And if you're going to do some soil amendments, you can always mix your amendments with the old soil and then grab the vacuum and shoot it back from the bag, or drag the bag over and dump it into the tree. Whatever you prefer to do, it gives you some options. Here's just kind of the product line. You know, the LT standard's what most arborists are using, but we do have a high flow standard, you know, if you really want to move product. Joe Aiken and myself were down in Kentucky, and man, we were able to remove a 6-inch tree in 2.5 minutes, like with the high flow, like it just ate it out. With the larger 385 compressor, it just ate right through that and removed the stump hole. So it's really impressive. We also have the LT liquid. If you want to add some water, you know, you don't want as much dust or moving around, and then that's the vacuum.
The liquid does help a lot also with really compacted clay soils.
Okay.
You know, when you get the water in with that high flow air, it really does help break up compacted soils a little better.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. So this was kind of what Kevin was talking about, some of the different things, you know, utility lines, being able to dig through, and you're not going to cut or damage or do anything to these lines. The air allows it to move through. this is used for rescue attempts in a lot of things. Like if someone's buried or something's clapped, they'll use this type of device to dig them out because we don't have to worry about injuring the person or anything like that. Bare rooting trees, right, Kevin?
Yeah, bare root transplanting of trees is, gaining a lot of momentum. A lot of people are starting to get into it. For one, you're saving a lot more of the fine root material. The traditional way of digging a tree with a root ball and moving it, you're losing almost 80% of those, fine absorbing root hairs. And then that tree is going to take a lot longer to establish. It's going to take a lot more maintenance and care for it to rebuild that root system and then, start becoming an attractive tree in the landscape again. So bare root, you get to save that entire root system. And you're saving, if you have a 3-inch diameter tree, you might be moving 500 or 600 pounds of soil with a tree that only weighs 75 pounds. So by using the Supersonic Air Knife, getting all that dirt out of there, you're going to get more roots with it. The tree is going to be way more manageable. You don't have to use big, heavy equipment over the lawn and everything like that. You can just pick the tree up, move it, and then replant it. Because you're saving so much of the root area itself also, you have enough contact with the new soil planting that's often that you don't even need to stake the tree. It's just ready to go.
Very cool. So we're going to start seeing this more, I think, as more towns become cognizant about damaging roots and digging up areas. You're going to see more protection ordinance and root zone disruption. Back when I was a landscape designer, worked on a unique project at the Naval Academy, and they literally had $1 million insurance policy on this willow oak, and they made them do construction barriers around, and then we had to air knife and go in and saw cut to run the irrigation through. So those projects are out there, and this is a great business add-on for PHC, right? Because let's face it, all the trees are planted either too low or too deep, and this is an opportunity to go into any landscape, and you're going to have work, right? Anywhere you go. So trenching, let's face it, we trench through and we kill trees. We build homes, we build driveways. All these irrigation, that's causing damage to a tree.
Yeah, and one project I worked on that was a lot of fun, Providence, Rhode Island once, is we had to replace a driveway next to a very large mature European beech tree. So, we couldn't just, take a backhoe in there and dig this old gravel driveway out and get it prepared and everything. So we were able to use the air knife, go down and grade about, 2 feet, exposing a lot of root material on the beech tree, but then get some structured soils in there that can handle weight-bearing load, driving a car, get a permeable asphalt type material on there. And there was no disruption to that tree, and they got to put in a brand new driveway, not doing any root damage. Because beech trees are very finicky to root damage. So
absolutely. So we're the challenge, right? This is some of the things that we can deal with, but this tool allows you to do things. I mean, as Kevin was showing, driveway, you can expand your driveway. You don't have to worry about cutting into that root zone. And if you do have to cut roots, you can actually cut it clean and do it the proper way in that aspect of it. We're not hurting the roots of the tree. We can do vertical mulching, reducing disease transmission. We're not just cutting through it. Girdling roots, right? We didn't even talk about that, but we can go in and save a tree that's wrapping around, whether it's a container plant or any aspect of that. Soil aeration, compacted soils. Simple, fast, protects exposed roots. I mean, is this a charge by hour type thing, Kevin, or what's the best way to go about this? Is it DBH?
yeah, it's mostly just by the hour, like most. It's kind of more like general tree care than plant health care in the way it's bid. It's usually bid by the hour. It's more of a labor thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can, if you go out there with 1 or 2 people, you can charge as much as you do to prune trees. A team of guys out pruning trees, you can get the same, money per hour using the Supersonic Air Knife and kind of doing that work below ground.
And this is something that you can line up, right? We can schedule, book it out, say we're going to come in the fall and do all this work, or late summer,
Yeah, and then, it's the first service, even if you're doing that radial trenching, you're charging by the hour to get that soil workable, but then you're getting that service of fertilizing the tree also.
Speak of the devil, radial trenching.
Yeah, it's a great example of it. Yeah.
So this is removing the soil and mixing in a compost or a char or some soil composition. I think our Hydrating OC would be a great product to mix in with existing soil, you know, that organic compost. And then even applying NutriRoot or some sort of, maybe even Arborplex, you know, something like that, or BioMP, any of those products. And we're going to talk about those coming up. That's kind of the end of the presentation. You know, if you want to see another YouTube video, here's a short little link that you can go, and I'm happy to share the presentation at the end with them. And we've talked about that. So I don't know, Kel, if you want to show real quick the Accuflo soil injector, last slide video, and probably the tree injection real quick, and then we can finish up with the Arborjet program.
Welcome back. We're here at Arborjet now at the live demonstration area that we've created to test out our equipment and give live demos. We're going to be here talking about our Accuflo soil injector and our Supersonic Air Knife. Kevin Brewer, our board certified master arborist and consulting arborist, is going to walk you through some of the things that we've done in this landscape. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, so what we've done out here is we've started kind of planting a landscape for kind of that outdoor training that we like to do, in-person stuff. And we've done some things in the landscape purposefully wrong, just so we have some improper things to talk about. It'll also be good for research in 5 years to see how planting a tree too deep, leaving things around the root ball, things like that. You know, in 5 years, we can take the Supersonic Air Knife and get in there and really show what a nice tree just planted wrong would do and how many years it would take to do it. So we've got some long-term kind of research going, as well as having an educational area. So that's kind of neat. It's also a good place where we can demo the Accuflo soil injector, which is a fantastic choice for insect growth regulators, soil injected systemic insecticides, low volume fertilization needs. And it's a really cool tool because, if you're using a plant growth regulator like Shortstop on a given tree, you can set this for whatever the rate is. If it's 200 milliliters per inch in diameter, you can just set the slide on the Accuflo to 200 mils, lock that in, and then when you hit fill, it's just going to automatically just go right to that 200 mil and then stop. So if you're just giving it, one injection per inch in diameter, you can work your way around a tree pretty quick. 3-inch tree, we're just going to give it one. And it's pretty quick, so it'll fill up by the time you're ready to get to your next spot. Last one. And then, that's how quickly and accurately you can apply, like I said, growth regulators, insecticides, fertilizers, a whole host of things. Very repeatable, efficient, effective, measured out process.
Kevin, you want to talk about the different sizes that we have?
Yeah, there's 2 different options we have for the Accuflo. The unit itself is standard. You can switch beside either one. We have the 4-gallon backpack, which is nice to be able to kind of just walk around, get things done quickly in a short area. Or we have the 9-gallon tow behind that you kind of just cart around behind you, but it has a 25-foot hose on it. So if you have really low branching on a bunch of trees and you can't really crawl around under there with a backpack so easy, you can just have this out in the yard and you can work a larger area, with ease and convenience.
The other nice thing about these devices is, guess what? They can become your spray device. So if you want to spray up to 20 feet, you have these backpacks. You'll just disconnect the recyclable type hose, and then you have different nozzles that you can choose from, different sprays amount. It's very adjustable. You can change. Makes it very handy in the landscape. So you can go do your bark sprays with this device, spray smaller trees, up to 20 feet. What's the battery life going on that, Kevin?
Lasts quite a while. It's about 10 backpack fulls on the 4-gallon. So that would be about 5 full tow behinds on the 9-gallon. So almost 50 gallons.
Talk to us a little bit about the economics behind the soil injection. I saw you just put 4 injections into this tree. How does an arborist who may not be familiar with this price something like that for a customer? What would that cost?
So you would charge by, inch in diameter. Most plant healthcares have their minimum price to come out and treat a tree. Those vary by company. But a tree like this, you apply a growth regulator by soil, you're going to get 3 years residual out of it here in the north. Down very southern Florida, depends on the growing season, you might only get a year. But that being said, $125 to $150 to treat a tree in 3 minutes is pretty fair. Fair deal.
And reasonably, that's not the only tree that you're treating.
Right.
And so $125, what's the material cost, not the equipment cost, but the material cost that you put into the soil?
For those 3 injections, maybe, what would you say? It's 60 cents.
Oh,
60 cents to $2.
that's much lower than I expected. I expected you to say $10.
For fertilizers and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's not. And like shortstop, I mean, it's very economical to do treatments like this.
It feels like there's a lot of money on the table here.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were to use NutriRoot, which is a great fertilizer we have for plant establishment, it's a 2-2-3, so it's low nitrogen, but it's seaweed extracts, humectants, and humates to help control moisture in the soil. On a tree like this, you might use 2 or 3 gallons at the time of planting, and your cost out of the hose for that, better guarantee is only about $1 a gallon in product cost at the end of the hose. So, very, very inexpensive.
And the thing that's unique with the NutriRoot, it has the carbon in it that everyone wants to hear. It gives you those carbon nutrients. It's helping build healthier soil with those products, the humectants, the seaweed extract. So you're going to get 3 times the amount of root growth from that. So this is very unique. And this device, yes, it's not something you're going to use for taking the fertilizer truck out, right? But we're coming up with ultra low volume, so you can actually do some fertilization methods with this. Some of our products, we're working on this to help it. But NutriRoot, prime example of what you can do.
Yeah, we're coming out with some great ultra low volume solutions for soil injection, because when you get into more caring for the soil, using soil conditioners like BioMP, which is a molasses-based microbe food, basically. Also a very usable form of carbon for trees. We also have, Viroplex, which is humic acid derived from leonardite. But again, because we're not really focusing on the NPK, the nitrogen of what people focused on 20 years ago, you can use much lower volumes, and you're making a healthy soil that can then care for the tree, rather than just kind of force feeding those same things over and over again. And that's how we can get down to only needing 4 to 8 ounces of what you would call your fertilizer per inch in diameter on a tree, rather than 1 or 2 gallons of product. So it's much lower volume.
And one of the nice things that we're doing with this, guys, is we're getting away from the higher cost of the fertilizers that are out there, the nitrogen and urea, because the costs are so high right now. We're working on building the soil better, and those products cost less. So it's helping us still get the same results, but we're improving the soil, and we're going to get an overall healthier plant.
And it's another low impact way for people to generate incremental profit for their business and help reach more customers with more services.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk more about that tonight, Nick, about some 2-step programs and stuff like that when Kevin and I sit down and go through some of our slides. We'll go back and forth and talk about that.
Great.
All right. I guess now we'll go maybe demo some Supersonic Air Knife.
Excellent. Thank you.
Injection. We're going to be injecting water into this sycamore tree for you today. We've got some blue color dye in for so you can see the chemical actually moving through the tree. This tree is kind of cramped with our landscape garden bed here, so this isn't the proper planting, but this is what we're here to show you. So typically when we're starting out with the tree injection, what we would do is we would have our DBH tape and measure it at breast height and determine how much the size of the tree. Excuse me, the day's getting to me. What size do you guys think this is? Take a guess, anyone.
7 inches.
7 inches, Kevin Brewer says it. So if it's 7 inches, with the QuickJet Air, we're going to divide that DBH by 2. So 7 divided by 2, and we're going to come up with 3.5. So we'll say 4 plugs around the tree. So we'll say 4 plugs. So if we were using Triage G4, we'll say 5 mils. So we would be putting 35 mils in. We divide that by 4.
roughly putting 8 mils in per tree, somewhere in there, give or take. But let's get started. So what we're going to do, and what's unique about this tree, guys, is it's been injected for probably the last 10 years, and it is really hard to see where any plugs are. So if you properly set this plug, which it's been done, you're going to have a hard time seeing this. So after we're done, or I'm actually drilling and injecting, we'll take a look at the tree up close and see what we've got. So I'm going to get down as low as I can. I'm going to go perpendicular to the tree. I see white. Now I'm going to go an inch to inch and a half in. As quick as possible, because what I don't want to do is cauterize the wound of the tree. This is very key and when we're doing it. And the size of the plug will also determine how fast the injection is. And with this one, I'm going to use our number 4 size plug here. Plugs are very important. Number 1, they keep the product in the tree. Number 2, they're going to keep any pest or disease out of it. And then number 3, it's actually helping the tree compartmentalize faster over the plug. We were actually the first ones to come out with plugless injection, but we determined how valuable the plugs were, and that's what we're using now. Because why would you want to do a plugless injection in an urban environment and lose 1 to 2 mils when you can have a plug and not lose any? Because chemical's expensive. 50 cents a mil, it makes a difference. It pays for itself to use the plug. So now we're going to use our plug setter and push the plug in. I'm going to set the drill out of the way. And then what I like to do is stand off to the side so I can actually see. And what we're going to want to do is we want to listen to how the plug setter changes. And you're always going to use a metal hammer. A rubber mallet will not give you justice when you're setting a plug. You just cannot hear the determination when that plug is actually setting into the xylem of the tree. I've set that, and you can actually zoom in and see that white of the xylem, and that is the proper plug placement that we want for this. And then we'll go ahead and grab the QuickJet Air. This is our best injection device, probably the best on the market. We have it set at 4 mils right now. It's literally just a push of a button. It's going to do the injection. I'm going to line this up with the plug, push it in. Helps if you turn it on. It helps if you have the pressure up on it. It'll actually work now. There we go, 4 mils in, 8 mils in, and we're done.
But it's considerably faster than the old school IV. Still a sucker for that bike pump, but pretty impressive.
So now we can kind of come up close and take a look at some of the old plug sites and the new plug sites and what it looks like when they're healed over. I believe there's one right here.
These holes in the bark, right?
Yeah, these little bumps are old plugs, and the tree's actually compartmentalized right over it. And you can see over the years how it goes up. So when you properly set a plug, there's nothing better in tree injection. It's the fastest, environmentally friendly way to do plant health care, and you can make a lot of money doing it. Now that we've done the injection, I want to point out a few things that I think are critical about different types of trees. This sycamore tree is definitely a thinner bark tree. So you want to be careful when you're doing that and make sure you drill in and you see that white of the xylem. On some of the typical ash trees, you might drill 3/4 of an inch into the thick cambium of the bark, and then you won't even see where the plug site is. And typically you want to do the injection from 0 to 6 inches. You could go up to 18 inches. Some of these plug sites may be higher because this was a research done tree, but typically we like to stay in that 0 to 6 inch area. And what that gives you is the ability to go a couple inches to the left, to the right, or below it when you have to do future injections. So you're always setting up to be prepared for the next time you have to come out and do the injections. Welcome back.
All right. Welcome back. Let's get to the final part of the webinar tonight. So we're going to get into the ArborRx prescription tree and shrub fertilization. So ArborRx has been around now, what, a couple of years for us now. So this is tree and shrub nutrition. We've got a lot of soil enhancement, rooting, plant establishment, and soil moisture management. This is a way to kind of write a prescription, be able to go out and make a determination whether you're pulling a soil sample or you're getting a soil test done. But we're combining plant nutrition with our products to enhance soil quality and stimulate root growth and improve this water availability. We don't need any agitation with our products. I think that's really a big deal. They're tank compatible, so you can mix them together for easy combinations. And then we have our Hydrating product, which is really unique because it enhances how the products go into the plant. You know, for instance, we talked about it with Shortstop. You know, it has soil water attracting qualities, so it enhances how the nutrients and everything go into that plant. And we have great rates for easy estimation. This is a nice chart kind of breaking down, you know, our lead product in ArborRx is the Arborplex, and Kevin talked a little bit about that. You know, spring application, it's a slow release, and we've got slides coming up on that that Kevin can talk about. But mainly we break this down, whether it's general maintenance, sandy soils, clay soils, compacted soils, you know, poor microbes, low organic matter, poor moisture availability, drought stress, iron deficiency, new plantings, you know, and declining trees and all that. So we have products for it, and we've laid it out in this chart for what does what. So it makes it very simple for you guys. And then we've kind of did marketing for you, right? Here's a nice little prescription pad Kristen and her team developed, you know, that you can walk out and give application instructions. So you can literally cross off and say, I'm going to use Arborplex to start off with. I'm going to use BioMP because I want that molasses product, you know, to enhance the soil. It's all new plantings. I'm going to use NutriRoot, you know, however you want to do it, but this gives you these opportunities. And of course, we got nice little checks. Kevin, I'm going to let you talk about Arborplex if you want.
Yep, so it's a 14.45, so it's not you know, too high in nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium, but you know, 50% of that is slow release. It's good for, you know, a young landscape when you're trying to get a little bit of growth. You know, when you're trying to get new plant establishment, things of that nature. Once you get towards, you know, older trees, if you're not really so much concerned about adding NPK, that's where, you know, the NutriRoot would come in. But you know, when you have nutrient deficiencies, a little bit loss of vigor, when you know, you want to inspire a little bit of growth, it's a great option to go with and start your program on.
BioMP. I really like this product. I think it's the molasses in it makes it very unique. It actually stimulates biological activity. So it's a food source for your soil microbes. We're stimulating that. We're improving the healthy soil biology. We're going to see better plant vigor. You know, so we're using this when there's heavy soils, trees entering senescence, you know, low cation exchange or water holding is where this product would come into play. Enviroplex, this is a humic acid from lenardonite. So this is poor nutrition. It's a soil conditioner. This is one of our highest carbon products that we have. BioMP would be right there with it. Rob, didn't you use Enviroplex and BioMP on some of your pear trees?
Yeah, I actually did. I have a property that's like many new properties. The people who built the house mixed all three horizons, A, B, and C, very sandy, very nutrient deficient, low cation exchange. And the result was that I was getting 1 or 2 pairs on a pretty mature pear tree after seeing all the flowers just not set. And I did have multiple pear trees. So I used a combination of Arborflex, BioMP, and EnviroFlex. And the very next spring, I ended up with roughly 12 pairs on a tree that could barely give me 1 the year before. And so I'm pretty convinced that what this is doing is trying to replace what is lacking in the soil, and I've been very pleased with the results.
Great, thanks, Rob. So Iron Plus, it's 1500. You know, this contains 6% iron. It has some sulfur. It has the seaweed extract, C extra in it, which is a big plus. So it's going to help with rooting. So this is a soil applied. This is what you could use in conjunction with what Kevin was talking about with Minjet FE. You know, because if we don't correct the soil, we're not going to get the tree to go healthy. So this is a way we can help do that. So we're going to improve chlorophyll production. So off-color trees, high pH alkaline soils, landscape situations where we really need a rapid response, we would do this in conjunction with our Minjet FE. Anything chlorotic in the landscape shrubs, that this would be an option. Hydrating. We've talked about a lot about this. So this is our soil moisture management. You know, if there's not insufficient moisture, drought stress, wilt protection, you know, this is a hygroscopic humectant compound. The benefit of this is really, it's interesting. It's going to reduce your watering requirements. Out in the West Coast, this is a big deal right now with all the water restrictions. This would be a product that you would use. With the high cost of fertilizers, you know, granular and that, this may be something you want to add to help enhance what fertilizer you put down, or you're cutting back in some sense. You're going to get better nutrient efficiency with this. Nice thing with this, it's going to last up to 3 months. So when you're going to use it for irrigation, or if you don't want to run the irrigation as much, this would be something that you would use. Water restrictions, localized dry spots, you know, this may be something, if you're planting trees in a medium and you've already used NutriRoot, maybe this is where you come in and apply this into the gator bags, you know, winter desiccation. So this is untreated versus treated trees, you know, 1.5 months post planting. You know, it can be mixed into a gator bag. You're going to get the cost to treat a Hydrating for 2 seasons is dwarfed by the cost of replanting a new tree. So it's a big deal. This is the Clemson Hydrating tree study that they did with 3-gallon live oaks. They planted them in black plastic nursery containers that only had soil mix and a water holding capacity of 13%. The study began and went on 15 months after post-transplant. And what they found out was the Hydrating was 2 times treated with Hydrating 2X was made every 3 months, 3 times during the year-long experiment. What we saw was the Hydrating trees had bigger diameter growth despite using 33% less water. The water trees came in second, but it was 6% less than Hydrating, and then the non-Hydrating trees were, with 33% less water, had 28% less diameter growth. That's a big deal. So the Hydrating with limited watering actually performed better than anything with just regular water. I think that's a really big deal for the Hydrating. Kevin, you want to talk about Cytogrow?
Yep. So Cytogrow is a seaweed extract. So it's cytokinins that we're going for in these seaweed extracts. We get ours from North Atlantic kelp. But what it does is it inspires the plant to grow roots without causing upward growth above ground. So you're going to get a much better root to crown ratio when you use it in trees, or a better, you know, root to grass ratio on turf. But, you know, that's what basically a tree's bank account for a bad day is that root system. You know, that's where it's storing a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of water to get through, you know, hard times, hard seasons. So anytime you can get a better root to canopy ratio on a plant, you're going to have a much healthier plant.
Great. NutriRoot, I'm going to start off talking about, but Kevin, I'm going to let you share your story about your house and the photos coming up. So this is a unique blend that we created. So it has the seaweed extract, the humic acid, surfactants, and humectants. So this is what I would use for all new plantings. Anything established plant maintenance. I've got a customer down at the Delaware beaches that's treating 14,000 inches with NutriRoot. This is his spring and fall fertilization. He loves it. So it gives you many opportunities and options. It's going to help with drought stress. It's going to help with water penetration into those root balls. And we've seen about 3 times the amount of root growth with it. This is a before and after picture of a river birch. I believe it was up in Minnesota. You know, in the beginning, this tree was struggling. But I think what NutriRoot does is it breaks that surface tension on that root ball and allowed the nutrients and water to get in, and then the tree thrived. You know, it didn't even look like the same tree.
That was 2 months.
Two months? Okay, 2 months, excuse me. And this is my before and after for my customer at the beach. You know, in 1.5 months, he did the injection, and that's how the tree responded with NutriRoot. You know, so it's an excellent product that will help with that. Kevin, I'll let you talk about these photos, right? Because this is your.
That's not mine.
Not yours. Was this Rebecca?
This is from the West Coast.
Yeah. You want to talk about it, Rob?
Sure. You can see that NutriRoot was applied at the time of planting, and that occurred in March. By April, the growth was pretty phenomenal, but by later in April, just a week later, not only was the growth great, but the flowering was tremendous. Most people know that in the first year of planting, rose bushes do not generally respond particularly well, and this just reflects the tremendous response that NutriRoot elicited in these plants.
Yeah, it is really impressive. So, Kevin, you want to talk about this? This is your baby.
Yep, so this is my restoration of an old, tired 50s front yard. So they were both just standard 2 lawn panels, no plants. House was kind of cooking in the sun. So took out all the turf and put in some trees in 2014. Started with decent size, just took out all the grass, put in the mulch, and then did a drench with the NutriRoot and the Bio-MP. And you can see after just 3 years, the growth on those plants in the first 3 years. And then in the 3 years following that, that whole front yard is now nice and full, blocks the street lights from getting in the windows. And it really is starting to cool that understory. So all the underplantings, the flowers, it's almost, part shade garden now in a way. So, just in 6 years to go from putting in, some modest sized trees, getting rid of the grass and just using that NutriRoot Bio-MP as a soil drench twice a year, you can get great results without adding, any, relying on nitrogen.
Very simple.
And also because of that, with the, to mention nitrogen, there's not price volatility on products like NutriRoot because you're not relying on that additive. That's what makes fertilizers very unstable in price, and that's what we're seeing now is those prices skyrocketing where the price of NutriRoot hasn't changed $1 through this entire ordeal. We have plenty of it. It's not hard to get. We don't have supply issues. Again, because a lot of that stuff it's just sourced differently. We're working with the soil in different ways to kind of make that natural environment the trees want. Like that soil was very compacted when I first started working with it. Again, just from being a lawn panel for 70 years. And then once it loosened up and that mulch started breaking down, it just has a very, natural foresty feel to it. And the plants just thrive in that scenario.
Looks great. Looks great. And I think kind of closing out is Bloomflex. So this is not a part of our ArborRx, but I want to talk about it because I think it's an opportunity, for annuals and anything like that or low burning. It's a high quality foliar application. Excuse me. So it's an 816.5 with calcium, iron, magnesium, and zinc. Very low burn potential, but they have low osmotic potential. But we've tried it. It works. We've had Eric down in the Carolinas has used it on his annuals, and it's amazing the difference. I don't think I added those photos. I forgot about it, but it's enhanced blooming, stress tolerance, gets you nice full growth, rapid establishment, greater root development from it. Thin, slowly emerging plants, deficiencies from phosphorus, any soil conditions. This is a great way to use for color change outs to help the landscapers that are working with HOAs or different companies to add some flowers. And then that's thank you, guys. Kale, Nick, thanks for having us. Thanks for coming to Arborjet. Arborjet team, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
We have any questions?
I have a couple questions here.
Okay.
So our first question is from John M. He's treated an ash for EAB 6 times, and he says he's running out of optimal drilling space. Do you have any tips or advice?
I would say if he wants to send some pictures, we can take a look at his plug placement and see how the tree's responding.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how frequently he's treating?
I think he said, let me find, no, he didn't say how often he's treating it, but.
So typically, if you're treating every other year and you have that plug set properly just past the cambium, after 6 treatments, we're talking 12 years since that first injection. A healthy ash is going to be putting on 3/8 to 3/4 of an inch of wood a year. So, over that 12-year process, that tree should have put on 4 to 6 inches in diameter. So if those plugs were set correctly, you would be able to inject directly where they were the first time, and you wouldn't even drill deep enough to get to them. And because quite often what happens if that plug's not quite deep enough, the tree will heal behind it and push the plug out. So the plug is just stuck in that outer dead layer of the bark, and typically healthy wood would be behind it if you healed behind the plug. So like Rob said, some pictures would help, and we'd be able to, come up with some ideas on that. But after 12 years, that tree should have grown enough to be right back where you started. You wouldn't even notice.
Gotcha. Okay, and the other one I got was from a Canadian with a very French name, Vincent Gendron-Rossignol, maybe, I don't know. He was asking if there are more Canadian products on the way from you guys.
I want to say that we have Imajet, and I think some of the Arbor RX products are up there now.
Yeah.
I want to say NutriRoot, right?
NutriRoot's available.
NutriRoot, Moisture Manager, Hydrating probably up there.
The Moisture Manager version of it.
We're also looking to expand the actual list of insects on the Imajet label as well.
And it was expanded somewhat recently with hemlock Philadelphia.
Yes.
That's slightly newer.
And we've made some changes on the hemlock rates to allow for more doses of larger trees, which means more profit for you and protection for up to 4 years.
All right. Great. Well, that's all I've got for you right now. I think this is a great webinar. Thank you, everybody, for coming together and putting it on, giving us a whole tour and demonstrations. If you are watching this right now, you will be able to find this whole webinar on YouTube and Facebook right here where you're watching it. It will not go away. The link to the quiz to earn CEUs is posted in the comments. And you can take that quiz for the next 24 hours, get 2 free CEUs. After that, you can take it anytime and get 1 CEU. So thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you for watching. Look out for the Accuflo and the Air Knife coming to Tree Stuff very soon. You can get that, and you can add some more value to your tree care businesses. So in a couple minutes, everyone's Alexa should be going off, reminding them to go to treetopiausa.com. Thank you very much, and have a nice night, everyone.